Greetings, guys. I'm in the shop tonight. I wasn't going to do a video, but I decided that this is a pretty important mold for my fishing game. This is the Do It Mold Pro 101 1/16 ounce Roundhead Jig model 1250. And I've poured about 80 jigs so far. I'm working my way up to 100. This mold probably caught me the majority of my fish last year, ice fishing and open water. That's the reason I'm pouring some tonight, because my last fishing trip I caught some smallmouth bass with these under slip bobbers. And all it is a round ball on a hook. There's no plastic keeper or anything. It's just a round jig head. But let's pour a few and let's see how simple it is. There's 7 ports in there, so you can do 7 at a time, so it doesn't take you long to blow through 100 pack of hooks. So I'll turn around here and we'll get to work. Starters, I'll show you what we're doing here. I've got 100 pieces, size number 4, Aberdeen jig hooks, Eagle Claw 570s. I get them from nimrodstackle.com. These guys are just on eBay. They've got a store, and I've bought from them many times. This is what we've poured so far. Once again, it's just a simple round jig head, and we're gonna powder coat those in a little bit. But I like it because it's an 1/8 of an ounce pour, and yet it's got a pretty good hook gap there for the fish's jaw to get caught in. So I've caught tons of different fish through the ice, many trout. And like I say, the other day we got into some smallies. So we're gonna finish up the rest of these bad boys. I've got my lead pot set on about number 5. And I've just been pouring them and putting them in here temporarily. Pardon the camera on this video. I'm just kind of shooting it with not much planning involved, so I'll just show you what I'm doing here. This mold's plenty hot, so you got to be soft to the touch. I put those in those Harbor Freight magnets. The one disadvantage to them is if you get these hooks too close to one another, they kind of attract each other, and it'll foul you up when you're setting them in the mold. So you're doing a lot of this, you look at it by sight, but a lot of it is feel. You can feel it drop in. It needs to drop into the eyelet holder and then the shaft holder right there. When you feel those two click, you know you're in business. So we'll put that back in there. See that? Okay, now watch. That screwed up that hook next to it because they're both magnetized. So that's one downside to that, but not a big deal. If you just go slow and steady, you'll win the race. So, yeah, I just got rocking out to a little Tom Penny, and I thought, you know, I better bring the boys along, because this jig mold is just too important to my fishing game plan. Yep, there's the cat. Hey, Toonsons. Anyways, so now I'm going to be real careful. Fold that over. Snap, crackle, pop. Nope, see, I've got a little gap there. So I know I've got a problem. Little gap there. So I'm going to redo that. So now I'm going to look and see where my problem is. And sometimes it's tough to see. Maybe right there. Let's give it another whirl. All right. Mucho better. No gap now. Cat, you're probably not supposed to be around this hot lead. She doesn't care. For starters, I tip that away from me, and I'll just pour a little bit of lead. Just make sure I have hot lead right coming out of the spout. Then we'll just kind of give it about an inch, 3/4 of an inch away from the holes, and just kind of be liberal when you put it in, because later on you grab onto that sprue that you've left there, and you can work that out with your pliers. Okay, so now we've got those poured in there. Nice big sprues on them. When you get these out of here, I take my pliers that have a spring loaded pliers. Just makes it easier to, you don't have to fiddle with opening your pliers all the time. What I want to do is rock the pliers out so it lifts that hook up. If you go down, you can cause some stress on the jig itself, and we don't want to do that. So when I do that, I'm rocking out. See, that just broke right off. And that's not a big deal. That's pretty cool, actually. There we have it. We'll put them in a pile. Kind of work that out with my fingernail. Just a beautiful jig, if you ask me. Which you didn't. So let's do that again. Got enough for another round. On a small jig mold like this, you want to do a lot in your favor to make the lead flow. So earlier I put some wood sawdust chips in there, and also you can put wax in there. It kind of gets all the impurities out of the lead, makes them float to the top so you can get them out of your hair. And another thing I've done, I've turned the temperature up. I've preheated the molds. If you look right here, this on the other side, there's a hole right there, and it'll put a big chunk of lead in there when you first get started, and that helps to preheat the mold, because this is such a small pour that sometimes you can have some failures. So it looks like we're, numbers wise, we're working right, just right. I've got 3 hooks left and 3 voids to fill. So you guys came along just in time. And like I said, it's such a simple mold, I almost didn't even bother making a video, but I thought we better bring you guys along, because if you bought one mold for ice fishing, for instance, this would be my first choice. 16th ounce. I mean, it's not a tungsten, obviously, but to me, I actually would rather fish these than a tungsten jig, because the hook size is so much bigger. With a tungsten, yeah, you'll catch a lot of fish, but boy, you sure miss a lot because those hooks are so darn small. But I've got some plastics we put on this particular size hook, and works really well. I'll show you here. I did just place another order with these guys, and I got some number 6s that fit in this mold. Then I've got another mold up here, same concept. In fact, we'll just include this in the same review. This is going to be your Pro 101 1/32 ounce jig head, model 1249. So I believe that was a 1250 there. Yep, 1250. So this is the 1249, and it's just a little bit smaller, actually a lot smaller. But as you can see, this will take a number 8 or number 6. And so I've got number 8s right there, waiting in the wings, and another bag of number 6s for that. And while I was doing that, I got my number 4s there we just finished, and then I've got some more number 6s, because that'll take 2 different sizes as well. So good stuff, Maynard. Let's get them poured. Okay, that looks good. No gap whatsoever. So let me set you down here. We'll get another pour going. So these are the last ones I poured. These are the first ones I poured towards the center. So I try to start with the first ones because they've had a little more time to cool down. Not a ton of time, obviously, but it does make a difference. Yeah, baby. There we have it. Beautiful jig. Hey, fishy, fishy. Okay, now we'll get to breaking some of these sprues off and show you what we got here. In order to break these off, it's just as simple as can be. Probably grab those pliers one more time. Just get a grip on them and just kind of wiggle it back and forth. And it just breaks off beauty. And it's got a few little burrs on it, but once you get that in your heat gun prior to powder coating them, it takes those little burrs off and comes out smooth. So there's one. Back and forth. Just so simple. Okay, so just like that, we've made a few jigs. I will get the rest taken care of off camera. And like I say, one of my most sought after jigs when I open up the tackle box. It's the one I'm looking for. So once again, that's a Pro 101 round jig head, model 1249 and the 1250. Hey guys, so like I say, thanks for coming along. I wasn't planning on that video, but I think it was time well wasted. Thanks for wasting it with me. Cheers, and I wish you tight lines, and we'll see you on the water. I'm getting excited to try a few of these here this next week. I'm working on some slip bobbers, some homemade slip bobbers. So look for that on the next video. We're working on making them out of some straws from different places. So it'll be fun. And then we're gonna take those out with these jigs on the water and slay a few. So appreciate your support, and we'll see you soon. There's our final product. 100 number 4s. The last thing I wanted to mention is, since these are such small molds, you can also take a candle and smoke them. If you can see the black marks there, it's because I smoked those. You just let your candle soot up a little bit and it'll turn that black, and it kind of helps the lead flow better. Not sure I'm a huge fan of it, but that's another thing that some guys do. So, thanks again. We'll catch you later.